Today on In the Woodyard, the big girl's gonna scream. That's right, the Eastonmade 22Mb firewood processor is gonna make little pieces of wood. Here we go. So the first thing we do is we start up the machine to warm it up, because when it's 15 degrees out, it takes a while to warm it up, and we do have a bypass valve we can close, and it restricts it and it warms it up much faster. And then I checked the teeth, and it looked like the teeth on the chain were a little dull, so touching them up, and we do that maybe once every other time that we use the processor, maybe every third time. It's got so much power that it doesn't need the teeth to be super sharp. It just cuts. It just cuts really good. So we're getting everything ready, getting her sharpened up. We're gonna put some fuel in next.
Hey, I put $77 in my truck this morning.
So we're about ready to run, and we found out that the track drive, the chain drive that feeds the logs in the intake is frozen down, which happens because we had that kind of heavy wet snow, and then it melted and it froze on overnight because it was so cold. So we had to go up there and pound it loose with a maul, and now I'm just kind of starting to get warmed up. It's been a while since that process, so it's kind of like starting all over again. You got to kind of think things through and make sure you're doing everything right and make sure everything's working right. But sharpening the saw made a nice difference. But I noticed the hydraulics are still not really warmed up. Everything's kind of slow. And Bert recently tightened up the bar connection. There's like a collar that holds everything in place. He tightened that all up. It slowed everything down quite a bit. As you see, as the bar goes up, kind of slow there, but normally it just snaps right back up. But I think it was also because it was so cold, because it got down into the single digits that night, and everything's just getting warmed up now and starting to flow. But yeah, it's working really good. So yeah, we're just taking bigger chunks and splitting them. We're gonna make a big pile here. We have all day to work, so I don't know if this video is going to be a two-part series or a three-part series, but I'm working on the editing right now as you guys are watching this, and I have 7 hours of footage because I had 3 cameras running. 2 ran most of the time, and then 1 for some specialty stuff. But yeah, it's kind of like starting to learn all over again, getting back in the saddle there to run the processor, because I haven't run it for quite a while. I've been doing deliveries and gone doing stuff and taking care of all the other production that's got to get done. And that last batch that Burton and Adam processed, I was gone. I forget where I was. I was doing something, and they ran a batch one day just because they felt like it, which is fine. It's great that they did that. And so yeah, I'm just making sure everything's cleaned out here, because I had some debris down in there that was frozen on them. Kind of pounding that loose, and you can't see it from where I am, but in the chamber there was a bunch of ice and stuff in there, so the wood was getting kind of hung up in there, so I'm getting it cleared up. So just getting everything running here again. And yeah, oh, and the other thing that happened, we had a piece of Lexan that was in front of that honeycomb grid in front of where I'm sitting there. If you can see that piece of Lexan got blew off in the wind, and it's really nice to have it when the wind is blowing out of the west, which is the direction that I'm facing. And because what happens is all the sawdust comes right in your face, and all the oil from the bar spray comes right in your face, and you're breathing it all day long. So we put that Lexan up, but again, like I said, it blew off, and we thought, well, let's just see how it's running without it. And it's really nice because you can see so much better without it. But you definitely want to wear glasses. So we wear either sunglasses, or we'll wear safety glasses when we're in the processing chair, because a lot of sawdust stuff comes flying at you. When that bar first makes contact with the wood, especially if you get bark that is loose, if it's starting to decay off of it, those bark pieces can fly all over the place. If it's totally barkless, it's not too bad. If you get one like this one right here, where it's kind of a crotchy thing and splinters and stuff, you can get crap flying all over the place at you. So it's kind of nice to have protection, especially for your eyes. The other thing is that with that Lexon up there, the machine's not quite as loud when you're sitting there because you're kind of behind a plastic wall basically, from the engine noise and everything that's up front there. But I wear earplugs all the time, and if I'm running a chainsaw, I wear earplugs and muffs. Yeah, I'm just cleaning this out because I think I had forgot to turn the elevator up fast enough there, and it was kind of getting jammed up, so it was my own fault. Trying to clear some of the chunks out and just making sure everything's working right here. Yeah, and the eject door wouldn't go, so it was kind of stuck, so I had to move some stuff around. So yeah, just kind of clearing it out, and I'm kind of nervous about it now too, because the drop away door, the eject door on the side there that I just flipped up right there, if it gets jammed up with debris, that's how it got busted the last time. It got all jammed up, and I didn't think it was a big deal, and what happened was a piece got turned sideways, and then the log, as it split in the chamber, came out and went flying out the side, and that's what broke the door away there. So here we're bringing in a piece that's kind of ugly. It's nice on this end, but on the other end there's a crotch on it, and those are the ones that always cause problems because they can roll on you. The bar hits it weird. The clamp bar will hit it weird sometimes, and sometimes you're better off just cutting it away and letting it fall away. But these first ones here are real nice, beautiful size pieces. I don't know dimension-wise what these are, maybe 16, 17 inches, something like that. Pretty good sized chunks, and you get a lot of wood fast out of big stuff. The bad thing is there's resplits because it's big chunks, and as a lot of you know, I don't sell firewood for heating purposes to boiler people. I'm selling mainly to fireplace people, and they want smaller chunks. So you can see that chunk there, how that just going to cause problems is all it's going to do. That's why I always tell people, firewood processors are like nice wood. If it's nice and straight, you can just move right along. Like that log that Adam's putting on right now is a nice one. But that one that is causing problems, see, it kind of made the lever go down on the crank up there, and it's just a nasty chunk. We'll have to fix that later with the small splitter. Some people say, oh, you should always be, taking those big chunks and re-splitting them right away like I just did there. Generally, that just slows you down. You want to just stay in your seat as much as possible. So here I got the door dropped, and I'm going to cut this crappy, chunky piece. I think I'm just going to try to eject it. I can't remember what I did here. I think I just tried to eject it out because there's really just no way easy to cut this. This is like a piece you want to cut with a chainsaw. So I'm just going to chuck it out the door, I think is what it's just a big nasty. Because I knew that would be problems. So we'll take care of it later. We'll cut it down, and a lot of those chunks go to boiler wood for Bert, which is perfectly fine. This size piece right here is really nice. That's like about an 8-9 inch or something like that. Those work really good. You can see the pieces as they come out. They're just really nice size. You won't have to be resplit at all. That 8 to 10 inch size stuff is like perfect. It's just one pass and you're done. And that's where a lot of guys that have firewood processing businesses that are selling retail in mass quantities, they sort their wood out. They'll purposely get rid of all the really big stuff and put it in a different pile, take all the little bitty stuff and put it in a different pile, and they'll run specific sizes at a specific time. And what that allows you to do is to go much faster because you can use the same wedge. You don't have to adjust the wedge up or down. You just leave it and you just go. And as you do it, you can sort the wood out. So a lot of people say, oh, you're wasting time, moving your wood around and sorting it. And yeah, you kind of are, but on the other hand, it's nice to not have problems, to be able to run stuff smoothly and to have it just, not have problems. Because whenever you get stuff that goes wrong, it slows you down and just take more time. I got a piece here that wouldn't roll right. It kind of wanted to do a weird thing there. So sometimes you got to straighten them out. But yeah, Adam is in the background there. You can see him on the tractor. He's taking out all the little stuff and putting it in a separate pile and then just bringing me the bigger stuff. And because I mentioned this before, we want to have the bigger wood get split first because most of it, the bigger stuff is still wet on the inside, even though it's, barkless oak. generally comes pretty dry. Like that piece I just split, if you look in the center of it there, the outside 3 or 4 inches is dry already. But some of the small stuff is totally dry, so we'll be able to split it and sell it right away, which is why we're kind of separating this. And it's not 100% necessary. I just thought it would be good to know that if we've got wood that's going to be dry already for the summer, it'll be that small stuff that's ready to go, and then this stuff can wait till fall. But I do find that barkless oak, any barkless wood for that matter, but the oak in particular dries way faster like this than it does if it's green, fresh cut with bark on it, you know, from green trees, because the whole outside 2, 3, 4 inches sometimes, all the way around is dry already, and just the inside is wet, depending on how long it's been sitting, you know, or standing, I should say. Now that piece I just cut, if you guys can look through and you see that honeycomb pattern on that log that's up there, having a trouble with this one here, it won't roll over on me. It's kind of got a heavy weight on one side. I should have had the door up. The drop door underneath, I should have had that up and just slid it down. Part of it might be that there's some stuff in the way there, because that wedge doesn't clean out really well sometimes. Oh yeah, see, I had a piece stuck in there. That was what was causing problems. And again, this video was shot for me 2 weeks ago maybe, something like that, because I'm behind on my editing. So I don't really remember actually what happened. So you can see there I raised the wedge up, and there I'm going to bring it back down. Now when you bring it back down, one of the issues you have, problems, is if you get some wood underneath it, some rounds or some splits underneath it, it won't allow you to go down. But once you get it up on a piece this size right here, you pretty much have it centered for where you want it to be for the rest of that particular log. And then sometimes what I'll do is after that log is done, I'll raise the wedge all the way up, clean it all the way out, and then drop the wedge back down so I can readjust for the next one. Which again is why you want to run as many pieces as possible in similar size as long as possible. It just seems to work out a lot better. So yeah, these big ones, you can make wood fast. I tell you, that pile behind me is adding up fast. And we're just processing this right onto the ground, because then later we're just going to shove it over up against the barn and then do resplits and then haul it away once the resplits are done. So got another log got to come in here. Now, if I'd have been paying attention and have been, you know, in the groove, I would have already had a piece moved in and had a piece moved up. I can tell I was very rusty because I hadn't done this for so long. And so right after you do like your first 2 cuts, so there's one and then you should have another one. That next piece on the live deck out there, I should be moving it in already because there's room for it already. But again, with a big piece, you can't see past it, so you're kind of trying to straighten everything up, and I'm trying to get it to lay in the trough just right. You can see the whole machine shaking. It wouldn't roll over on me because it was kind of turned out to the side. So you don't have to do that, but I find that everything lines up better and it cuts better if you get it in the middle of the trough. And that's a pretty big piece. That's probably, I don't know, it's probably 17, 18 inches. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, right around there, I would guess. But, yeah, it's cutting away there. Adam's on his phone talking to his boss. It's the only time he ever stops if he's got a phone call. Otherwise, he keeps working. So, and I think, if I remember it after this, he told me I think he was talking to his boss, his wife, I mean. And she was chit-chatting. He says, hey, I got to go. Chris is down to his last log. I got to get him some logs. And then he came flying up with another one for me. I think right there he sees the last one going in. So yeah, and here's a piece that's a little bit smaller, so the wedge might have to go up or might have to go down, I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get it to go down here even. I think I'm trying to. Yeah, there we go. I got it to go down. Because sometimes if you get a whole bunch of splits underneath there, you got to clear them out first. Especially when you're running really big stuff. I find with the big stuff, it piles up faster, and you got to make sure your elevator is going fast enough to keep it cleared out. But when you do real big stuff, it tends to, a lot of times you'll get in the bottom of the chamber behind the wedge, you'll get chunks that will twist on you one way or the other, and they can kind of catch just because it's wood and it does that kind of stuff. So sometimes we have problems. Oh, I think the camera might have got hit there. I see it moving. So here Adam's bringing me another piece quick. So anyway, yeah, you just keep plowing away and watching the pieces. That piece right there was pretty rotten. I don't know if you guys noticed that, how it kind of disintegrated. The back end of it was pretty rotten, and which means it was very punky. So it didn't split like it should have. It kind of just broke apart. There wasn't really splitting action happening. Let's see if when this one goes through, I think this one does the same thing. It just kind of just gets pulverized. Yeah, it didn't split really, really good. But yeah, we usually try to keep a few pieces right where Adam's getting them from now. If you look over to the right, we leave some stuff over there. So if you do get behind on your sorting out there, you can just come over there and quick throw a few pieces on while you're looking for some other stuff, depending on, oh, the camera did get hit right there too. So the camera's on a tripod right next to the elevator, and if a piece goes up sideways, it'll hit the camera. I've knocked it over only about 100 times. Oh, this is a bad one here. That's something you got to look out for too. You get a piece that splits like that, you want to get it out of there, because what will happen is your clamp will clamp one of the sections if you get a split log, but not the other one. So what happens is you have a piece in there that's held tight and a piece that's not held tight. And when the bar goes through it, when it's cutting, once it releases that first piece, the other one is not being clamped. And you can get a tumbling action with that chain, and it'll start tossing everything around, and it's not a good thing. You can have pieces go flying. You can have them bind on the bar, and you can pinch the bar because it almost like twists it because there's nothing holding it. And so you got to watch out for that. So whenever we get a piece that's cracked all the way down or a split piece, we either try to cut it off in little pieces at a time or cut slower. And what I do a lot of times, if I'm loading the deck with a piece like that, I'll put it out separate. So we just cut it with a chainsaw or hand cut it. So we're going to speed this up now. We're just going to go into fly motion here and make this baby sing.